taking a moment. How did you ever get started with knife making?
Well, I was always a knife nut from the time I was a kid, and so the interest was already there. When we started Spyderco, we were kind of a marketing company, and we were trying to market and sell a variety of products, and we decided that we wanted to gravitate into the knife industry because of our interest. We started making sharpening tools, and we started studying the edge to see if we could improve on what was available at the time. And we learned that there were a lot of opportunities. There was materials, steel, there was geometries, there was a lot of information that just was available that the public didn't know about and really wasn't interested in. And so we started making sharpening tools and marketing those. And then we created a knife sharpener that would sharpen serrated edges, because in our studies we realized that serrated edges really had some advantages in cutting power. And we thought that everybody would start making serrated knives because now they had a sharpener, and nobody did. So in 1981 we came out with our first knife. We had a few unique features, the hole, the clip. And then in '82 we came out with a serrated knife to try to promote that concept. Because if you look at nature, serrations are everywhere, you know, from shark's teeth to ferns. And we felt that it was an area that was not really being exploited in a way that we humans could benefit from. So we started making serrated knives in '82, and we refined the geometry over the years to something that would be improved. You know, like on knives where we use cutting boards, we use the teeth to protect the cutting edge from the cutting board, and we do that in some pretty innovative ways. And then we were making knives in Japan. I was introduced to our maker in Japan by Al Marr, who was one of my mentors, and we started making knives there. And then after probably 10 years or so, I realized that we really needed the ability to have manufacturing in America, something that we could control everything. And so we started out with some very old equipment and a few engineers that were able to make them, and then we just started advancing from there. You get a little more money, you have a little more horsepower, you buy a little better machine. You know, you buy an old laser, then you buy a new laser. You buy an old grinder, then you get a new grinder. And then CNCs came about and robots came about, and we just took advantage of every opportunity in the technology to continue to improve. Then as the market, we realized that there were more people interested in things like steel types and edge geometries and cutting power than was really apparent from the people making knives at the time. You know, so we started putting the type of steel on the blades, explaining the advantages and disadvantages, and as the market was kind of hungry for more information, we just kept giving them all the information we could find. And then we gravitated into mule teams for testing steels. We gravitated into saltwater steels for the corrosive market. We expanded design considerably because there were so many needs in different markets that required different types of designs. Then we learned that there were people collecting our knives, which surprised me. What in the hell they want to collect our knives for? We're making them to cut, you know? So then we had to start paying attention to those guys as well. And we have a kind of an unusual philosophy for our company that is probably a little on the offside. You know, we do things differently. We don't charge as much as the market will bear. We think that's fighting the hand that feeds you. We take good care of our staff, because if you don't keep your good staff, you're always training. We're always honest with our customers about everything we do, so that's how they learn to trust us. And it's just been growing from there. And we're still doing it. So we've expanded our U.S. factory 3 times, and we're trying to increase our volume there. We make knives with makers in Japan, Taiwan, Italy, and China, and you know, it's really hard to find makers that can meet our standards and our quality and that we can trust. And so that's how we got to where we are now, and we're still doing things the same way.
You've done a lot of collaborations with people. How's that working out?
It works out okay because we realized we needed the variety. You know, my designs are fairly cut and dried for performance. If I want to make a knife look better, I design it and give it to my son, and he's got a better eye so he can make it look better. But we're still very performance oriented, and the market was saying, gee, you know, what about this, what about that? So we started our collaborations with a custom knife maker named Bob Terzuola, and that was our first collaboration design. And from there we were able to expand into other named designers, and we made quite a few, and then people started to bring us designs, so we started to license custom makers to use some of our trademarks, and that was also a source of design, and we're still doing that today. We can't make them all, there's just too many, but when you've got product that you're making and you want to try to introduce something new, something's got to go. And that's always a challenge to figure out what to discontinue. So as a result, we've got a lot of designs that we've made over the last 50 years that we no longer make, and they've become more of collector items than anything else. We're still innovating, we're still using new technologies, we're still working with new steels, even with the different foundries, and we pay attention to our customers. We're on forums every day, and they have a lot of good information that they provide, and so we work for the customer. That's the end line user. That everything is done for them.
Okay, Sal, a huge motive force in the industry. Always will be.
Thank you much.
Yeah. Fantastic.